All right, guys. Welcome to the Crawford County, Illinois Ghost Hunter Society live talk show. This is episode number 51, guys. We are moving up there in episodes. Throw that up there. But yeah, welcome to the show tonight. I'm going to be your host, Jason Snyder, and got another guy co-hosting with me, other team member tonight, James. I'm going to throw him in there here later. Unfortunately, Sophie is working on a project. She's doing some psychology stuff at school. So I think she's got a speech this coming Wednesday she's working on. So she's unable to make the show tonight. She's working on that hard. So she will be on the next show on the third Monday of the month. She went with us on our investigation last night. She just can't make the show tonight. So got James Pinkston filling in with me tonight. I'm going to go ahead and throw James right into the show here tonight and get him up here. Hey, James.
Oh, sure. Just throw me right in.
Yeah.
Can you hear me all right still?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
You look good. I can see you anyway.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry for you.
Yeah. But
what we got going on?
Got James Pinkston co-hosting with me tonight, guys. He's been a team member for a long time and been a lot of investigations. You've probably seen him at Pine Lawn when we did the blood test. He's definitely our blood test guy.
Not sure that's a good thing to be known by, but okay.
Yeah, you're the blood test guy.
Gee, thanks. All right, what we got up? What's going on, Jason?
Well, got a lot going on. We did a investigation over the weekend here. James, me, and Sophie and John attended. Did it there in Robinson at a private residence. I was going to go over that first, kind of tell everybody, what we did find and what was going on with that. And then we're going to make an announcement here later on in the show also regarding a location that we thought we were going to lose, but now I think we're going to be gung-ho on the ghost hunting side of it. So we're going to talk about that also and give you guys a little update and announcement regarding that. But this weekend, James, you missed investigation, but we got called into a house there in Robinson, and the clients or occupants of the home were saying that, they were having lights flicker on and off by themselves. Their pets were experiencing or doing strange things, like barking at the walls, seeing things that weren't there. One of the doors, They reported one of the doors opening and closing and the latch moving on the door at one point, even locking the dog in, which was kind of interesting. What happened is one of the occupants of the home, he started noticing the door opening and closing by itself. So he thought that's pretty strange. So he actually installed one of those bolts. Yeah. It's not normal.
No, you don't normally see your doors open and close on their own.
Yeah. But he installed one of those bolts on the outside of the door, the ones you can pick up, kind of like a hotel room lock where you can move it over and push it down. So he installed a bolt on the lock on the outside of the door, and it started unlocking the bolt lock by itself. So that was pretty strange. And, that's when they started freaking out, him and his girlfriend, another girl lived there, and it's just like, they called us in there to figure out what was going on. It was pretty cool. I think we did. So we started to leave and we made the joke, like Sophie got hungry, wanted to go eat like in the middle of the investigation. Cause it was a weird time. We started this investigation. It was like 5 PM. We don't start till like 8. So she got hungry about, I don't know, 7 or so, 7:30 maybe. And we decided to go uptown and eat and come back. Well, we made the joke, as we were walking out the door. Well, I imagine the light's going to start flickering and going off and stuff as we walk out. And lo and behold, it did. As we were walking out, so me and John and Sophie all run back in with cameras and start filming this. And the light was flickering, but I don't know. I looked at the switch and stuff, and I got the light to do it on its own, so I'm going to have to debunk the light activities being some type of electrical problem, because it was an old fixture, too. Like, man, it was like these old porcelain fixtures, like the old porcelain fixture that comes down like this, and you put the bulbs in it. I mean, it was cool as heck. I've never seen one like it. It was old.
It's like the knob and tube wiring, or it actually have like legitimate wiring in it?
No, the wiring's okay. Just an old fixture up there.
Huh. Okay.
But it's weird. I mean, but I could duplicate it by turning the switch on and off
No,
really quick. So, I mean, if I can duplicate something, it's not paranormal.
no.
It, that's the way I look at it. Or maybe, I guess I can't say it's not paranormal, but I guess the
Well,
ghost or spirit could be manipulating it. But I definitely duplicated it.
it's best on err on the side of caution and just say, hey, it can be naturally, or it can be explained kind of, even though it technically, I mean, maybe it could be paranormal, but it's best to like err on the side of caution to say, hey, it's could be explainable. So.
Right. Sure. So yeah, I kind of had to debunk that. But what we did capture was something really cool. We were in the front living room area, and I had a digital recorder running. I was doing an EVP session. Everybody was completely quiet. I mean, it was just me, John, and Sophie in the room. We had the door shut behind us, and I captured what I believed. I've still got to get it up on the computer, but what I believed to be a male voice saying, "I unlock." And that totally corresponds
Well,
with
with the door
intelligent
clocking.
response to the door unlocking. Yeah. So this
Huh.
guy was basically telling me, yeah, he's like, I unlock. So that was pretty interesting. I
I
thought
see
that
a
was really cool.
I see a pattern there. I see a pattern
Yes.
there. The
So
correlation.
definitely. So we instantly went from the front room where we recorded that to the door area where they were reporting that lock, and started focusing on that area just because he said he unlocks it. So we thought maybe, heck, he's gonna try to unlock it. Well, what happened? We're all sitting in there. The occupants of the house, me, Sophie, John. We're all sitting in this room, and we hear what sounded like something hit the door on the outside. We're the inside, and that lock he put on the outside of the door. So we could possibly be locked in at this point. So like we're all freaking out, like, oh my god, it's gonna lock the door on us because it locked the dog out one time, he said. So we're sitting in here and we hear something jiggle and the door get hit, which freaked us out a little because like we would have had to like send you in with like a crowbar or something to get us out, James.
Well, if you ever get locked in a place, just call me. If I'm available, I'll stop by and unlock it for you.
I appreciate that.
No problem.
Yeah, I'll have you on speed dial.
There you go.
But
So,
and we heard another strange sound in the room with us. That same room, they said like this little it was like a little thing with tools on it he had setting up there, kind of like a little miniature toolbox with some screwdrivers and different stuff hooked to it. He said that fell over at one time. Like John was sitting right underneath it, and we were afraid that was going to fall on his head because we heard a noise right up there by it, but couldn't confirm what that was either. And then we go down into the basement area of the house. It's obviously a lot colder in the basement, which felt good because the house was really hot. But I set up some motion detectors, vibration detectors, a couple touch sensors, and one of my touch sensors went off over by the like washer and dryer area down in the basement. Absolutely, absolutely no one in the area when it went off. Very strange on that part. I couldn't debunk that either. So I mean, there may be a possibility of some strange activity or haunting going on there. So we're definitely going to do a follow-up investigation with them, probably go full scale, set up our equipment, and we will go live on that one, guys. So they have agreed to go live, I believe, on the second investigation. Try to pull your comments up here because I wasn't reading them.
Yeah, I'm looking at them as well. So yeah.
Yeah. Sophie, Cammy's saying I volunteered we throw Jason out the window. Yeah, she was going to throw me out the window because it was like it was like an 8 or 9 foot drop, and they thought that I was the tallest one there. So
I'm sure you can handle 8 or 9 foot drop.
Yeah, that's no big deal. So, but yeah, she's on here tonight. Yeah, it was a cool place. We're gonna do a follow up. Maybe you can hit the follow up, James.
Oh, hopefully, if I ever get any time off, yes. So what else happened? Anything else? Miss anything else, or was that basically the gist of it, or what's up?
That was pretty much the pretty much what happened at that location. I mean, we tried debunking some stuff. Like I said, I debunked the light pretty much. I mean, if I can recreate it, it's definitely not paranormal. But it was a cool place, and we're definitely going to go back for a return investigation and go live with that so everybody can see it. Cammy said she's going to throw me out in the snow. I appreciate that.
Gotta do what you gotta do sometimes with you.
Yeah. But anyway, what have you been up to? And then I'll start talking about some other things.
Nothing really. I mean, I told you the gist of what's going on with me. It's basically I haven't had a whole lot of time to get away and actually do anything. So I'm living vicariously through you guys' investigations.
Yeah.
So what do we got? What's the news? Or you were saying about some news going on. What's
yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go into the news we've got. And James kind of a part of this too, because he may have a little announcement he's going to make too if he decides to do this. Do you want to do that tonight too, James?
Well, I may hold off on that for a bit longer. I've still got some logistical information coming in. So
okay, so James is not going to make an announcement.
No, not right now.
Okay, so James is going to hold off on his announcement, but anyway, guys, I want to get this out here where we got a lot of people on the show. Before we thought we were going to lose the Methodist Village, United Methodist Village in Lawrenceville, due to maybe new owners of the location. We've recently found out that as of right now is not taking place. So we are going gung-ho on promoting the United Methodist Village now for haunted tours and ghost tours, and we are opening this up to other paranormal teams now. I'm in the process of making a Facebook page, guys, for the United Methodist Village, and it's going to be kind of like, like you can go to the Ashmore Estates and rent that. Ashmore Estates, I think, charges like $500. Waverly charges $1,000. You can go to these different locations and rent these places out if you're a paranormal team out there watching, or if you're a paranormal investigator, independent paranormal investigator, and you just want to investigate the village. We are making that available now to the public. Right now, what we're looking at, starting price is going to be $300, I think, for a night, possibly a weekend, depending on if we work out a deal with you for up to 12 people. And anything over 12 people is an extra like $25, I think is what we were going to do. And that is from 7 p.m. You get the building from 7 p.m. until 6 a.m. the next morning. So
now, I ask a question here real quick. I hate to interrupt you, but now are they going to be accompanied by somebody?
So yes, okay, absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned that because I would have forgot. No, they will be accompanied by one of us. Maybe me, maybe James. Who knows who might be there with your group or whatever. They will be accompanied just for security purposes and as a guide. If you want me to take you through the building, show you all the locations of the building, the hot spots, anything, they will be, somebody will be there to help you, as a guide in the building. And the owner wanted us to do that anyway, just for security purposes, so we can keep an eye on everybody. And we're probably going to start we're going to reset our full video camera system up in there and start monitoring the building. And, just for security purposes also. And if these teams that come in, if they don't have, a full, IR camera system, they're more than welcome to use ours and sit behind base and watch that. But it's not going to be one of those deals where we babysit people and we just walk around with them. I mean, you've got free reign of the building to go wherever you want and do whatever you want. We're just going to be there for security and, just to make sure, you guys aren't doing anything crazy and make sure nobody messes with, the people renting the place too. So
now, just to reiterate, the proceeds are going to help the facility. Is that right? Because I mean, we all know that they've been there recently. It does need some work and stuff like this, and it's a concern that eventually, if things aren't done, it may get lost. So we want to make sure that everybody understands that proceeds are going to help the establishment or help work on going to the owners and stuff.
Absolutely. Yep. Okay. Proceeds are all going to, as of right now, are all going to the owners. We'll see, how many nights and weekends we have to spend there before that changes. But as of right now, all the proceeds are going to the owners to fix the building. It's not like we're doing this to try to get rich, guys. We're trying to help fix this building up because, like James said, there is some roof leakage now. Some water in the hallways from the roof leaking. So, that stuff's going to have to be replaced and fixed up here soon because that can take a building real quick.
Yeah. And we'll make sure, because like you just said, a lot of people, investigators, seems like there's a stigma that they do things for money. And so like, I want to reiterate that, that's not the case in this, that actually the proceeds are going to go help the facility.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we donate most of our money back to these places. That we investigate, guys. Like Pine Lawn Manor. The we do the Masonic Lodge there in Lawrenceville. We help them out every Halloween and donate money to the Masonic Lodge. We do the Methodist Village. So yeah, we don't get rich off this at all. We like to help the buildings and the owners and we just love the paranormal side of it, the research side of it, and actually getting to investigate these locations. And hey, if that's bringing people in and charging them to get money, helps other investigators research the place and try to come up with the same conclusions we did. I mean, it's pretty cool in my book, and it's going toward a good cause. You're helping fix the building, so.
Now, she mentioned the possibility of hosting paranormal events. Is that a possibility?
Yes, I'm glad you're hitting these key points because I would have forgot. I'm glad I knew I had you on here for a reason tonight.
Enjoy it while I'm paying attention.
Yeah. But yes, we are planning on doing some paranormal events if everything works out at the United Methodist Village. Again, this is located in Lawrenceville, Illinois, guys. It's down off of Cedar Street by the park. It's right there in Lawrenceville. It's easy access. And we are going to possibly hold a paranormal conference or a paranormal event there here in the near future. Don't know what we're going to title it yet, but again, it's going to be available for teams to come. We're going to have guest speakers, booths set up. We're gonna have a full paranormal conference there here in the near future. That's another thing we're going to be doing there at the village, and it'll be a cool place because we've got that whole dining area, to set things up and have guest speakers, whatever, speak. Only downfall as of right now is we have primitive bathrooms or restrooms in the facility. So we're going to have to definitely work on that. But there is a Casey's uptown that is open all night. So if you do have a team that is thinking about, investigating this location, restrooms are one thing you do want to consider, but you can go uptown to the Casey's, which is not like just a few blocks down the road, to that facility. But we're working on getting running water into the building, see what happens with that. That would be a big help.
just avoid the gas station sushi. Anyway,
you said the gas station sushi,
of course.
Yeah, you had an incident with that a few times, haven't you?
No, who hasn't? I mean, come on, really. Somebody says something here. Here we go. Is it for groups of 12 only?
No. You can do more than 12, but we're probably over 12. We're going to charge an additional $25, I think, is how they were going to set it up. But we'll see how that works. And we can, we'll work with you too, because this is going to be, we're trying to make as much money for the owners as possible. But, we can work with certain individuals also on pricing and everything. If you've got like a big group or, you want to do 2 nights instead of 1 night. We will definitely work with you guys on that. Even for like birthday parties, maybe you got a, teenager that's interested in paranormal stuff. You want to throw a birthday party there and a haunted ghost hunt, that night. We'll do stuff like that too. It's going to be exclusively ran through the Crawford County, Illinois Ghost Hunter Society Facebook page and the Facebook page I'm making for the village itself. But it's going to be hosted through us, basically. There will be a Facebook page put up for the village, but it will be hosted by us. So,
and let me know when you get that information ready for that website, because I've got the domain and everything too, and we're just ready to move forward with that. That way we can actually get that out there as well. So,
okay, and not trying to burst the bubble or kind of let a cat out of the bag, but yeah, James possibly might have an announcement. I'm not going to talk about it, but it's also associated with the village if he goes through. So
okay. I'll tell you what, we'll just put it out there if you're all right with me saying that.
It's a possibility.
It's a possibility because we're looking at like other revenue options to make money for the place and stuff like this. And although paranormal obviously is a big hit and we all love that and stuff like that as well, we're looking at other options that we can utilize the place in different ways as well. So to help raise money and stuff and get people interested in the place as well. And you can go back and do multiple things with the place. I mean, it's not just paranormal. I mean, you can actually host stuff there as well. So, but it is a large place. If you've been there, you know that. If you haven't, just like he was just saying, there are issues with it, primitive bathrooms, stuff like that. But like I said, they are working on that. And another thing with the heat, but there's the things hopefully we're working on, moving forward with, we can get things, get the place back up to par.
Yeah. Actually, Rick, he's down here in the comment section now, one of the owners. He's saying he is actively working on a restroom. So that's awesome.
Sweet.
Sweet, Rick. Thank you. So, yeah, hopefully once we get the page launched, I plan on having the page launched for all this stuff by this Friday, guys. It should be up and running and going. And, if you're a team out there watching this or know a paranormal team that wants to rent a place, I mean, like I say, I'm pretty sure, wouldn't you guess? I mean, Rick can probably tell me the square footage of this location, but James, there's more square footage than Ashmore Estates.
It's big.
Yeah.
Utilizing the new and the old area of the place. And,
Right.
So I couldn't even guess on how big the place is. So,
yeah,
for sure, it's a large place.
I would say it's bigger than the Ashmore Estates by far, square footage wise. I don't know.
I've never been to Ashmore. I hate to say that out loud.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah. I'm trying to give people a comparison because a lot of people around here go to, the Ashmore Estates to, do stuff. And like a lot of people have been there. So, it's not quite as big as Waverly Hills, obviously, but it's a little bit bigger than the Ashmore Estates.
Yeah, but unlike Waverly, we got windows.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
there's windows in the building, and I promise you, it's be a lot better experience than Waverly. My experience at Waverly, anyway. But Kayla said, very large. I get lost in there without a guide. Yeah, she was on one of our haunted tours around Halloween. She actually witnessed the red light flash. And James, we had a guy in there, or a lady in there, her husband died, and I've told this story.
Oh, hold on one second here. Rick actually just responded. 126,000, about 126,000 square feet. I'm guessing that's square foot.
Yeah.
126,000 square foot.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I would say that's bigger than Ashmore. I'd have to go in there and see if they give a square footage. But
yeah.
Hey, bye, Cammy. Thanks for tuning in. Get that speech done. But
okay, so her story. What happened? So somebody got lost.
Which one?
You said you're starting to tell a story about someone getting.
I was just telling a story about what happened to the lady at
the
United Methodist Village.
Mm-hmm.
I told it before, but her husband had passed away. We didn't know what room he had died in. And she was sitting there in one of the hallways in the Otten Center, and I believe it was room 188. We're sitting there across from that, and his name was Dawn, and she asked me to communicate with Dawn. And I said, Dawn, are you here? Can you communicate with us tonight? And instantly, the red call light came on above that door.
Wow.
And yeah, the red call light, that is the only time it's ever happened. I've tried to get it to happen again. She's not been back since, I don't think. So the one time she was there trying to communicate with her husband, who passed away in that room, which we didn't even know he passed away in. She told us after the fact, that the light came on, that was his room. It's never happened again, and it happened during that tour while she was there trying to communicate. And that's still one of the coolest things I've ever seen there at the United Methodist Village. And knocks, bangs, me and another female team member were in there the other night, and Rick, and we actually heard a big bang on the door. It's been a while back now, but we heard a huge bang on the door. Me and the Terre Haute guys around Halloween, we were in there like 5:30 in the morning, and just boom, 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 knocks on the hallway in the Otten Center. I would definitely say the Otten Center in the United Methodist Village is the most haunted hallway or haunted location of the building, which it was the area for the dementia patients and everything, which is kind of weird because Pine Lawn Manor is one of the most haunted places I've seen, and it was for the mentally disabled. So,
yeah, a lot of us from around here have actually had, family and stuff like that there at one time. So,
yeah. My grandparents were actually at the United Methodist Village at one time, and they were in the village part, and then they had an apartment around there, before they got bad. So yeah, they kind of lived in and around the village for a while too. So yeah, I've actually had family members myself in the village. So they didn't pass away in the village, but they were there, a long time.
Yeah. Same here. I have a family member there as well. So
yeah. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a good time. You're gonna help guide too, probably, aren't you, son?
Anytime I'm available, yeah.
Okay.
And then, with that and then other things we got hopefully negotiated with the place. So yes.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
So what else we got lined up? Jason, fill me in.
Well, we got several investigations. I just got another call today about a investigation in Lawrence County, a home in Lawrenceville area that we may be investigating. They've got some paranormal activity going on, so I'm going to get back with them, make a phone call with them tomorrow, possibly this weekend. We might do that. I'll keep you updated and keep the fans and everybody updated on that as well. Got some houses in Robinson to investigate, more houses, actually 3 houses. So we'll be doing that. If they let us go live, we'll definitely announce it, though, that we're going to be there and let you guys know on the shows, what we do find, even though we do not announce, sometimes where we're at, addresses, names, just for privacy's sake. Same way on this last investigation, they didn't really want to blast it out there right now, but they may go live on the second one for sure, which is going to be pretty cool because I say we did get an incredible EVP there. So,
how about the door locking?
Yeah, the place with the door. Yep.
Yeah.
But another thing I was going to talk about, maybe I told you about a little in private chat, that I was going to tell these guys, I had some crazy, absolutely crazy things happen to me. I need to look at my calendar to see what weekend that was even. It's been a couple weekends ago.
Where are we at?
That I'm not going to tell right immediately because I really don't want anybody going there. It was that bad, James. Like, this is a place I think I was telling you about. Well, I told about it in the group chat anyway.
See, now I'm just intrigued. So you have to fill me in.
Yeah, I'll probably take you there at some point, but I'm not going to announce it to the general public. The location of this cemetery.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it is a cemetery. I just don't want people going there and vandalizing it. But so one of my team members, she wants to be left anonymous just because of all the crazy stuff that happened to us that night. But she came back from out of state. She's not usually here. She came back and went with me. Just me and her. She showed me the cemetery that she had found driving around, and I had never seen this place. To show me a cemetery I've never seen in a 10-county area around here is pretty amazing. So I'm not going to say what county we were in, where we were at, but we went into this cemetery. She took me into the cemetery. We're sitting there, I had a weird feeling. About this place. It is creepy as hell looking. This cemetery is creepy. It's out in the middle of nowhere, and we're sitting there. It's cold though. It's probably 10 degrees out, and I start seeing what I thought was this black shadow thing come toward the Jeep. We were sitting there debating on whether to get out, because it was so cold, and we were kind of scouting the cemetery out, looking at it, and I'd never been there. And this black thing comes toward me, and as it gets toward the Jeep, I turned my Jeep on, or actually the Jeep was still running. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here. I start to take off because I see this black thing. I was going to move on down the lane in the cemetery to see what it was, see if I can get lights on it or whatever. And the shadow coming toward the Jeep. As soon as it comes toward the Jeep, the lights are on. I don't see it anymore. My Jeep just went freaking haywire. I hit the foot feed. It would not move. The e-brake light came on, and I did not have my parking brake on or anything. I floored it. The Jeep would not move. I was stuck. The Jeep was just sitting there not moving. The parking brake was stuck, and it wasn't on. And then it lets up, and the lights start flashing in the vehicle. It sounded like something hit the vehicle and hood. All my lights are flashing. All my dash lights are flashing at the same time. The vehicle revs up to a point where I thought the engine's going to blow up, and then it stops. And I put it in park for a minute, or in drive for a minute, and then I'm able to take off for a minute, and it just locks up again, stops the vehicle on its own, revs up the vehicle. Everything goes dead then. Battery goes dead. Whole Jeep's freaking dead at this point. And take into consideration, this is 5, 6, 7 minutes after we pulled in the cemetery, somewhere in there. Jeep was fine. I checked it before I left that night. It was cold out. I always check it because if I'm going out in the cold, tires are fine, antifreeze is fine. Everything's fine. Nothing's wrong with it. I get in the cemetery, and literally all hell breaks loose as I'm sitting in the cemetery. I'm freaked out about this as when I started seeing the marbles flying at Pine Lawn for the first time.
I got to agree with Bob here. Aliens.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. Uh, but long story short, I mean, I pop the hood, I get out, try to see what's wrong with it. I don't see anything. I don't notice anything wrong. No belts off, nothing. Uh, and like we can't go anywhere. You know, luckily I got phone signal. She didn't get phone signal, but we ended up staying there in 10-degree weather with no heat and nothing for about 3 hours, probably, waiting on somebody to come get us. So we finally had somebody come pick us up, and they had jumper cables. I jumped it. Vehicle still wouldn't run. It'd start for a minute, then wouldn't run. Wasn't a dead battery because at that point, like the lights were bright as heck. You know, it wasn't making the sound. You know, when you turn and you got a dead battery. I mean, all the lights are bright as
Yeah.
hell. You know, the battery's not dead at that point. It still just would not run, and like the brakes were locked up.
Huh.
Like the brake, like the parking brake was on, and the brakes were locked up. So I had to turn it back off. And like I say, long story short, I had to leave my Jeep there overnight. We could not get it running. And come back the next day. I had to have somebody come back the next day and tow it to a shop because they couldn't get it running either. So $800 later, of expenses at the shop of things that went wrong that should not have went wrong. Got my Jeep back and running again, but I had to leave my Jeep in the cemetery all night. You know, we had to have somebody come get us, and like it was strange, one of the strangest events I have ever had. I mean, I definitely have that on one of my top 10 top paranormal weird crap that's ever happened to me night. But I was so freaked out by it. Like I absolutely know that it was not normal, just something wrong. I mean, it was paranormal. I promise you that. I mean, because I seen something come toward the Jeep right as it happened.
Yeah.
And I haven't even told most of my team members what the cemetery's out of the name of because I don't want anybody going there at night because I was stuck there in the cold and this is in the middle of nowhere. And if something happens to them, like it happened to me, I don't want somebody stuck there. But I really just don't want to announce it too, like I say, because of vandalism and all that and people going there.
Sure.
But
Yeah,
first time I've been there, maybe the last time I ever go there, but I'd
We'll
almost
take
put it in one of the most haunted cemeteries I've been to yet. Just
we'll
because
take bicycles.
take bicycles.
Yeah, we'll take
Chains and
bicycles.
tires will fly off, I promise. They're not safe either.
Jeez.
But
That is crazy.
I don't know. I even had the people who worked on it said they couldn't explain what the hell went on. I mean,
Look, they took the money. They just don't know what happened. So,
yeah, it just like I don't know. It was strange.
that's
But it was like I know where I was parked out in the cemetery and everything. And like I'm kind of gonna leave it as one of those cemetery X things and not announce the real name of this place because like I say, I want to go back and further investigate when I like kind of I don't know, I guess gain some confidence back going there. But the weird thing is I started having crazy things happen in my house the day and night after I left the cemetery also. Like more than usual stuff. Like in this room where I do my show from. Like I have the normal stuff flying off the cabinets and everything, but there was a picture that flew off my wall like a day and a half after I visited the cemetery. I actually went home because we got home at like 9 in the morning, or I did that because we were out in the cemetery all night. I had to spend the night in the Jeep. Get home about 9 in the morning. I go to sleep and wake up, go to sleep that next night. And that next morning is when all the strange things started occurring in my house. Stuff started flying off. Like a picture flew off in here. I mean, just flew off the wall at me. And I walked into this room and I was saying, no, I was like, it's okay. You're not going to scare me by doing that. And something grabbed, I think I told you about this in the group chat. Well, yeah, because you made fun of me and asked me if I was drunk or something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because I said something grabbed me by my hair and
well, I have to ask.
Yeah, it literally grabbed me by the hair and yanked my head sideways in this room right here. I've never in my life had that happen anywhere. And like the girl, the individual that was with me is freaked out about it. She does not want to talk about it.
Well, yeah, I understand.
She does not want to be interviewed about it. I mean, she was freaked out too about it. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but It was one of the weirdest nights ever. I'll take you there sometimes, James.
Yeah, I'm curious now. What to
Um,
see? What to see what happens. Now I'm intrigued.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, it may be one active place because if I'm there one time and that happens to me, I mean, who knows
Well, I'd be
what can
curious the
happen.
history of it. So too.
Yeah,
So, I mean, if there is any history, I mean, a lot of places like that don't even really have a history. They just act up.
right. Yeah, this
So,
place just kind of popped out of nowhere.
so
I mean, she was just showing it to me because we'd never been there, or she didn't know if I'd seen it. I'd never seen it before, which is cool.
well, that's
Laura says
interesting.
prearranged pickup time when you'd be done investigating, but they have to park away from the cemetery and you walk to them. That's a good
That's
idea.
actually that is a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, park away from the
So,
cemetery. And
huh. So,
that's
go. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's been my life for the past couple of weeks.
So, anything new on the horizon? Anything coming up?
Not immediately, like I say, we just have those houses to investigate, and
Okay.
we're gonna post those out on the page, guys, for you guys to see when we go to any of these locations where we might be going live at. Um, yeah, that's all I had on my list really to announce tonight. Like,
Somebody puts down reminds the last time we went to Pine Lawn. Following days have started with things flying around the house.
that's interesting.
So I've never had really anything follow me back. So I mean,
From anywhere,
really, yeah, really anywhere. I can't nothing I can recall off the top of my head. If it was, it wasn't anything that I noticed. But of course, it has to be pretty big for me to notice. So,
right? Yeah,
but
but unless the inhabitants follow you out of the cemetery, Becky. Yeah, that's true. They probably did.
I don't know. It's kind of odd though, because like most cemeteries would seem like it'd be the last place to be haunted. But
I know. Yeah, it's why would a cemetery be haunted? I've always wondered that too. And everybody thinks cemeteries are the most haunted places, but usually buildings where there's been a lot of deaths. Because yeah,
yeah,
the body attachment deal is still there, but why would you hang out at a cemetery?
I mean, yeah, nothing. I mean, granted, their body is there, but I mean, nothing happened there really. I mean, unless they're attached to their body or something. But I don't know. Most of the cemeteries I've been to, it's like they've been anticlimactic. I mean, nothing really happens, stuff like that. So it's always houses. It's always like like the village, stuff like that. Places like where a lot of stuff happen. A lot of people go through there. A lot of things happen. So I mean, it makes sense. If somebody, like you're saying, dementia places with people unstable. Sanitariums. What is the history? I don't know the history of Pine Lawn. What's the history of Pine Lawn?
Well, it was a home for the mentally disabled. It was all
Was it?
mentally disabled. Yeah, and it shut down in 2005, and because they were getting fined by the state. The state had come in and basically shut them down, told them to get them out of there, as soon as possible. They moved them to different facilities as quick as possible, pretty much overnight. I think it was in December, actually, of 2005, if I remember right. But yeah, it held all the mentally disabled, and some of them were worse than others, obviously. Some of them could communicate pretty well, some of them not, and but the abuse that supposedly took place there, even though some of the staff doesn't like to admit to it, some does. Some of the staff admits to it, some of the staff does not, obviously, because they don't want lawsuits and all that still, because who knows who could still come back on somebody. But yeah, a lot of abuse told to me by nurses that want to remain anonymous and CNAs that want to remain anonymous about feeding tubes being put in wrong, and one of the female individuals was put in the wrong way, and it ended up going into her body instead of into her stomach where it's supposed to go. She ended up dying of septic shock like 2 or 3 4 or 5 days later, after she was complaining she was hurting. They didn't check her or anything, just let her die. They let people choke to death, and the morning shift found them. Like night shift would put them in the room while they were still choking, and morning shift would find them dead in the morning, not even try to help them. Just a lot of horror stories I've heard. People dying outside, choking on peanut butter, dying in the yard. There was deaths in the yard of Pine Lawn. So, yeah, there's a lot of crazy things that happen at Pine Lawn Manor.
Just to make a note here, real quick, what you're reporting, things that were told to you, nothing that's actually factual or anything. You've actually researched, I guess, just to make sure. I mean, I don't know. I'm just curious.
There is documentation of some of this, yes.
Oh shoot.
Yeah. Yeah. There is documentation of some of the things that took place there. Yeah. Um, a lot of the records were not destroyed like they were supposed to also, and people had access to the records. We've seen the records. I've actually found records. um yeah, there's a lot of documentation on what I'm saying. And one thing that wasn't documented that I recently found out about Pine Lawn Manor was a guy was in there on my haunted tour, and he knew a guy that was going to fix the place up after it was shut down in 2005. See, squatters and stuff and people moved in. They tried to turn it into apartments several times after 2005. So some of the stuff that's in Pine Lawn Manor belongs to people that were staying there, like trying to live there. How they were going to live there, I don't know, the things that we've heard in there. But this guy on my haunted tour told me one of his friends tried to fix it up after 2005 at some point to make it into an apartment, and he mysteriously died of a heart attack in Hall 3. Died in the building, Hall 3. Now, this is a death after the Pine Lawn Manor days, after it was a home for the mentally disabled. So now we know that there was even a death in Hall 3, which is one of the most haunted hallways in Pine Lawn Manor after it was shut down as a nursing home. Who knows what's happened in there, over the years. It was originally built as a hotel back in the day. That's why you got back doors coming out of a lot of the rooms and stuff. Yeah, it was originally built as an old hotel, and we're not sure what happened during the motel or hotel days of Pine Lawn Manor either. Was there suicides? Were there murders? Who knows? Did somebody just die of natural causes in a hotel room?
Sketchy stuff always happens in hotel rooms. So.
I know. Yeah. Especially a motel in Sumner, Illinois.
Apparently, I guess. So
Yeah.
when did it actually become a facility for mentally impaired?
See, that there's an argument about. Nobody can really tell me the exact year that thing started.
Okay. Do you know what year it was actually built?
No, that's another thing. Like, yeah, we cannot find the actual date of when that thing was built.
Huh.
Some people say the 40s, some people say the 60s. Like, it's just an ongoing debate on when that thing was built. If there's anybody out there that knows the actual date of when Pine Lawn Manor was built as a motel or hotel, I think is what it was.
Or yeah, when the building was first erected. I mean, that's a big thing. When that building was, or some building that was put there. I was kind of curious about too. So, okay. Pine Lawn is no joke. Actually, very sad. All the stuff. Yeah, appears that way.
Yeah.
So, here you go. Some cemeteries are built around ground reserved by the Native Americans, so it's possible that there are guards left there.
Yeah, could be.
There's lots of theories about that, especially when Native Americans are concerned.
Absolutely, yeah.
So,
James, well, I got you on here. Why don't you?
Uh-oh.
I don't have you on here very often, so I'm gonna.
I don't think I've ever been on here.
I know you haven't, have you?
No, wait. I was on a show we did back in 2012, I think, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Oh God, 10 years ago, Jesus.
Well, I got you on here. So, what's some of your most haunted things you've ever experienced, paranormal activity wise?
Lord. One of my favorite stories is I probably told you this. The place in Northern Illinois. I'm not going to disclose location. So I guess I got to work with a very, very an amazing man by the name of Rob Conover. I recently found out he passed a while back. Him and I lost contact, but we did a television show a number of years ago for Scariest Places on Earth, and I got introduced to him, and we worked on a lot of cases together after that. So I guess it's one of the very few people I've ever met that was truly gifted as I don't want to call him a psychic, but he's truly gifted. I mean, it was amazing. I could meet him. This is long before the days of like social media, so like Facebook, MySpace, stuff like that. Yeah, I went back to MySpace, but I'd meet him and he would just start telling me stuff I did since the last time I'd seen him. An incredible guy. So he calls us up one time and he's like, "Hey, I got a case I need your help on." So I'm like, I'll go into a long in-depth story here because it's actually really interesting.
Okay.
So he's like, something happened to this place. I'm not going to give a whole lot of details, but something happened. I need your help because something's going on. So me and my team went in there. This was early 2000s. And we started going in there. We get his baseline readings. And no matter where we were in the house, you could not find a north direction. We went in there in the compass, and no matter where you went, direction would change constantly. We'd go in like the master bedroom, and like north would be one way one moment, and then all of a sudden it'd switch back to a different direction. It was like crazy. Like it was like magnetic fields all over the place.
Yeah.
We'd set up cameras, and within moments the batteries would die. And equipment went crazy stuff like this. So it was a very large house. So we were actually able to set up a command center towards the very back where it was a newer part of the house where not a whole lot of stuff seemed to happen. But I always tell this story because I don't believe in demonic entities. Excuse me. But this is probably as close as I could get to saying I've ever encountered something demonic. There was one of the rooms in the house. It seemed to be like the most active, these incredibly erratic readings all over the place. Because, we shut the door, and we stuck a camera in there and shut the door. And one of the team members yelled back and said, "Hey, the camera's dead."
Right.
And we had a computer system. Also preface, we used to have a computer system that would take atmospheric readings. So we sit in this room as well. And the readings are all over the place. I mean, we're picking up crazy EM fields. We're picking up, motion. We're picking up lights. Our light sensors are picking up stuff. So we go in there. I go in there and I change the battery. And I leave back. I asked them my elder radio. I'm like, "Hey, we got the video back up." They said yes. So I go back and I leave the room. As I'm walking back to go back over and say, "Hey, the camera's dead again." So I'm like, "Oh, great." So somebody loves Scariest Place on Earth. Yeah, thank you. It was actually doing a couple of episodes that was actually really interesting. So I go back in there and we'll change the batteries again and come back out. And as I'm leaving, the door starts shaking. And I'm sitting there, I'm like watching this, and I turn around and I can see the door shaking. I can see the door rattling, the door handle rattling. And I yell back over, I'm like, "Can you see anything in the room?" And the camera set back up so they can actually see full wide range of the room. And they're like, "Yeah, nothing's there." And I can literally see the door and the rattling and the handle shaking. And then what I can only compare to animalistic sounds.
Yeah.
And it honestly sounded like someone put a rabid dog in a closet, and you could just hear this snarling and this like clawing at his door. And I'm like, "What the hell?" And I'm shocked because I'm like, I don't know whether to open the door, but I'm like, I'm like, "Is there anything in the room? Anything at all?" They're like, "Nothing's there." And then it stops.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "What the heck?" I'm like, "Weird." And then Rob's in the room, and he's like, "Okay, it's time." He actually he went in there to clean this out. This is basically, like I said, a brief summary of what happened in the location. I mean, it's a long drawn out story. There's a lot of little details to like this. I'm just not really going to bore you with, but I remember him going in this room and facing this thing. And I remember him coming back out of the room practically backwards through the air, like something threw him out of the room. Now, mind you, Rob was a very large man.
Yeah.
And I'm watching him because I see him like basically like half in the air flying back out of this room. I mean, he's good 300 plus pounds.
Yeah.
And then and then all of a sudden I see him run back through there. He's like, "Oh no, we're doing this again." And he runs back there, and it's like it's little things like that happen. I mean, I would sit there and record him. I could feel like breathing down my neck. It's just and honestly, it's not unnerving, but it's probably the most unique case we had. And then by the end of the night, the activity seems to stop. The air cleared out. And they said, this is kind of a brief summary of the house. And it seemed like it was a lot lighter. And the gentleman that lived there could finally come back. He actually like moved out of the house. I mean, he would stay at a hotel. He'd take his Bible with him. So I guess, and he'd say sometimes these stuff would actually go to the hotel with him. Stuff would happen at the hotel. But, long story short, I say long story short, it's actually a pretty long story. But he contacted us a little while later and said that, yeah, everything seems to have stopped. But this is like one instance when we worked with Rob. It's a really good case. But I said, it were little things like, the snarling, the scratching, the physically, the door shaking. It felt, I'm not much one on feeling stuff, I guess, but the whole place felt violent. It was
Yeah.
like really,
Yeah.
really crazy. I mean, I had no other explanation other than, whatever it was not pleasant,
Yeah.
but,
Was
but
that
what's that?
was the house that was on Scariest Places on Earth, or was it a
No,
different?
that was not actually, surprisingly. No, we kept that one
Okay.
quiet. So
Okay.
the one we actually did on Scariest Places on Earth, I don't want to say that Hollywood embellished it, but Hollywood embellished it
Well, yeah, that's the way they
and
do anything.
made it more of a thing than it really was. And the
Anything
person
they ask me to do, they ask me if I'm going to exaggerate and stuff first. So yeah, that's why I don't do a lot of the Discovery Channel and History Channel stuff. Like,
I mean, yeah,
yeah,
it was, well, there. I'm not going to go on a whole lot, so I guess, but the story we told them and the story they came out with was basically two different things. And
it
so I
was
guess
what now? I couldn't
the
hear that.
two different things. I mean,
Okay.
the parts of the story were real
Yeah.
and everything, but the person that did it did not want to be did not want to come out. So they want to remain anonymous. And the only reason they did it wasn't for any money because they didn't pay anything for it really. But the whole point is, she never encountered anything unusual in her life. So she wanted to let people know that this kind of stuff happens. So she
Yeah.
did it just so other people can see that, they're not alone and hopefully they can come forward and tell their story. But they embellish the actual story behind it and everything. And it really did it unjust what
Yeah.
happened, but we were all really disappointed and everything. And we were actually part of the agreement, verbal agreement. You never take a verbal agreement. We learned the lesson hard way, but was we'd actually be able to see the episode before it aired, and we did not get to.
Yeah.
And they aired it prior to this, so I guess. But what happened was, and all I'll say is they initially wanted to bring in Lorraine Warren to work with us on this one,
Yeah.
and we declined that one because for personal reasons I'm not going to go into, but
Yeah.
a dealing we had with Lorraine Warren. So that's
Yeah.
why they brought in Rob to help out with this one, and got the place cleared out. He got the place cleared out. He's did an amazing job. So I guess, and the people were actually, because they just bought the house and she couldn't even live in the house, her and her daughter.
Right.
And so they cleared the house out and she was able to actually move back. She couldn't sell the house because, she couldn't afford it. And so I guess, so, but she cleared out, her and her daughter could move back in the house and live there. And after that, we stayed in touch for quite a long time that she was able to, the house basically turned to normal and they were actually able to, live in their dream house. So that was the one that was on Scariest Places on Earth. This other one that happened was one that just, we kept private.
Okay.
And just never went on forward. And we did find out a lot of history about the land. It's a small town. I'll just say it's a small town in northern Illinois is where it happened at, and it did have a huge cholera epidemic.
Right.
So there seemed to be a lot of activity related to that, so I guess. So
Becky had a question here for you about that. Did Rob mention to you what this entity was?
He mentioned what he thought it was, and there was a lot of speculation. Now, see, I'm more the person that's inclined to, if I can't prove it, I don't like making the claim.
Right.
But what happened was, I'll say this much, out of all due respect for the people that, the gentleman that lived there, and he lived in the house with his wife. And prior to his wife dying, she would start telling him she would see people in the house. And if I remember correctly, this was a long time ago and my memory fades somewhat, but if I remember correctly, prior to her dying, she invited whoever was there to come with her and she'd help them over too when she died. And that just opened up this big old can of worms. I'll just say that much. If I remember correctly, Rob, he didn't say it was demonic, didn't say it was, if I remember correctly, he just said it was like a really bad entity. I'll just call it that much. I don't remember. I honestly don't remember if we called it demonic or not. I was caught off on my experience with it so much. I dwelled on that, what happened to me for a while, because not only on, what physically happened to me, but on a personal or emotional level, it was a lot to handle. It really was, because it opened my eyes to stuff that I'd never encountered before in any case. I've been on a lot of cases and I've encountered some strange stuff, but this was probably the most troubling and violent things I've ever felt. And it wasn't violent actions that happened towards me so much as you could just feel violence and hate in this place.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that kind of reminds me of a case I had up in, well, it was actually West Union, Illinois. It was on Halloween night, and we were investigating the old funeral home there, and it had been turned into a house. This has been probably 15, 20 years ago, maybe, at least 15 years ago. We were investigating this location, me and a couple other guys, and we were downstairs, and they said they'd been hearing weird things in the house. We hadn't heard anything all night. All of a sudden, we hear upstairs like scratching, banging, glass breaking, growling, like all kinds of weird stuff, to the point where I thought like some type of animal had gotten in the house and started breaking things upstairs. I mean, that's how bad it sounded. So me and TJ, the guys with me, we went running upstairs, and we're searching everywhere, looking around. As soon as we get upstairs, there's nothing out of place. There's no glass broken. There's no animals. It sounded like boxes flying around, hitting the walls. Nothing's out of place. I mean, the place is just pristine, like nothing's moved. We looked at it before and documented, where everything's at. Nothing's out of place. We look under the beds. We look in the closets. Look upstairs. There's a little thing that went up into the attic. We even crawled up into there to make sure nobody was faking us, hoaxing us, and somebody had been up there and made sounds and stuff. Absolutely nothing. We went through that whole place and could not find anything. Anybody, we thought somebody was either hoaxing us or some kind of animal got in. I'm talking an animal. I'm talking the demonic dog off of Ghostbusters when it runs through the. That's what we were thinking we're going to see when we get up there, but we couldn't find anything. And that's one of my things. Probably one of my top 10 things of the weird crap that's happened. So I go up there and we're both coughing, guys. So me and James got COVID at the same exact time. So
we're still recovering. I'll tell you what, that's nothing to laugh at. I ain't gonna lie. That was rough.
Yeah, it was. But yeah. Anyway, though, I couldn't find an explanation for it. Like, we couldn't find anybody up there. No explanation for the sounds we heard. It never happened again.
Oh, you hear about like scratches and stuff like this, but I mean, there's only really been like one instance, which I just told you about, which I hear the scratching, clawing, the snarling, the growling, if you think about it, when a demon comes to mind, you think about, all this stuff like this, and that's the kind of sounds that seem to come out. So like I said, it's only happened really one time. It seems to be like correlation between, the growling, the snarling, of, like you were just saying, so like that, this bad stuff seems to happen in a case like that, and I'm not sure exactly what it is. I mean, I had no explanation. I don't know what it even was. It could have been, just a nasty person.
Yeah.
Somebody, not evil at all, but it's just the characteristics were typical what you'd assume whenever come across something malevolent.
Right.
So, but.
And 9 times out of 10, I could debunk scratching and growling. Some type of animal. I've seen possums get in walls. I've seen raccoons get in walls. Rats. A lot of stuff in some of these houses and old buildings we've investigated. Where we debunked. And me and James can both attest. There are those times that it's not an animal.
Yeah.
I mean, like in your case and in my case, I went all through that place. I know 100% an animal can't break glass and throw boxes around and, make the sounds that thing was making. But 9 times out of 10, when you do hear those sounds, you can debunk it as being some type of animal in the wall or under the floorboards. I was in an old church one night. Actually, it was Restitution Church up north of Bel Air area. And we heard like what sounded like this just demonic growl, just this ungodly growl. And I went and shined underneath the church, and there was a crawl space over there. I seen some tracks going into the crawl space, so I shined my light in there, and it was a possum. I mean, those possums, man, they can sound vicious. I mean,
it's amazing some of the wildlife the sounds they can make that you don't really realize.
Oh yeah, foxes, they'll scream and people will mistake them.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
foxes, bobcats, yeah,
yeah,
all sorts of crazy stuff the sounds they can make, stuff like that. But
yeah,
like I said, like I said, what happened to you and what happened to me, so I guess I don't, I'm sure we get do feel the same way. I didn't get into paranormal because obviously to be famous because that doesn't happen, or make money, stuff like that doesn't happen. And
right,
my big drive with it was to convince myself something's there.
right,
And I don't care if anybody believes my stories I've told. So I guess I know what happened to me, and I'm perfectly content with accepting, that what happened to
right.
me. Do I still believe in ghosts? I mean, sometimes it's crazy. You still got that. Okay, maybe it didn't happen, kind of thing.
I know exactly
Maybe
what
I
you're saying.
imagined things. So I guess yeah, but
Yeah,
I did it to convince myself something's there, and if anybody else believes it, great. If not, I don't care.
yeah.
So I know
Yeah, I
how
kind
to
of do.
sort stuff.
Yeah, kind of do it both ways too. Yeah, originally to convince myself, and then once I figured out there are some things I couldn't explain, to convince to the public that hey, be more aware of your surroundings, be more aware of these things that could be unexplainable. And that's why I like to present it to the public and show them, that there are places that have activity that we can't currently explain with basic science, modern day science. And I don't think we can ever use science, to actually explain it, because some of this stuff isn't repeatable.
Yeah.
You can't repeat it like an experiment. It just happens when it happens, and that's it. And it's just like, I'll tell you what, like I was totally on the border, on the fence of whether ghosts are real, clear up until 2020. I mean, I've been doing this for 25 years now, and it took me until the last 2 years to be like, there's something wrong.
Yeah. No,
There's
no, I
something
get it.
wrong.
I get it. I really do.
Yeah, it took me
Yeah.
that pine lawn investigation where marbles started coming out of nowhere, hitting me, and coming out of empty rooms, and quarters flying out of walls, and 30 people witnessing it with me. It took that for me to be like, there's something in this world we can't explain.
Yeah.
I mean, because I could, and still, is that a ghost? I don't know. Is that a ghost causing that activity, or is it some type of psychokinesis or telekinesis that we're creating with our own minds and teleporting those objects from places, and we're doing it ourselves? It's paranormal regardless, but
As in a true sense of something that's out of the normal, as
sure.
paranormal stuff like that. But yeah, like absolutely, like you just said. I mean, is it naturally occurring stuff we're just now discovering? Is it There's no way you can chalk up to like ghosts. That's like these pictures of. I'm going to make a lot of people mad here. Orbs.
Yeah.
Stop. Just stop, people. Stop.
I
Orbs.
know. Quit
There is
posting all
absolutely
the
100%, 1,000% no proof that an orb was a once living person. Period.
correct.
I mean, it makes a lot of people say that. Is it something unusual? Sometimes. I mean, yeah, dust shows up too. So I guess, but is it could it be a naturally occurring phenomenon in nature that we've never caught really till recently?
Yeah.
Possibly. Is
Yeah.
it a ghost?
No.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's no proof. There's absolutely no proof. And I feel it's the same way, Jason. I mean, unless there's proof, it's all speculation. It
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
is. So speculate all you want, theorize all you want, but until someone has proof,
Right.
I'm not gonna do anything other than just say, hey, it's a theory.
Yeah, exactly. Just like I say, I've seen marbles fly out of nowhere. I know it's paranormal, but did a ghost cause it? Did the soul of a former living person cause that to happen? That's the question. So there's a lot of things with the human mind people don't understand through parapsychology, and like I say, in psychokinesis and telekinesis of mind acting on matter. Yeah, can we actually, as several people focus on the same thing and manipulate matter, manipulate objects and move them or cause them to move, and it's not a ghost at all. So
The big thing with to touch on that base is sleep paralysis. I did a whole big write up a number of years ago about sleep paralysis, stuff like this, because is it demonic? No, I don't believe so, because it's a form of parasomnia, which is basically a sleep disorder.
yeah,
A lot of people, they wake up, they can't move, they sense something else in the room, and yes, I understand it's terrifying. I've had it happen as well. Sleep paralysis, it is absolutely terrifying. But there's cases of hallucinations happening at that time, and that's when your fight or flight thing kicks in. So your mind basically takes you to the worst case scenario. What is that? You can't move. What's the worst that could happen to you? Someone's in the room with you, or something's in the room with you, and chalk up to that. I mean, there's been a number of studies where in sleep paralysis cases, in parasomnia cases, that people do hallucinate.
Right.
I mean, because they're kept there, and typically that happens when someone comes out of they're fully asleep and they come out of it too quickly, and
Right.
they still have that. I can't remember the drug, the basically the chemical that's running through their body. That when we all sleep, there's a chemical that's released in the brain that actually causes us to be paralyzed. That
Yeah.
way, we're not acting out our dreams. I mean, it's scientific fact. I mean, so and then when you wake up too quick, that chemical has not worked its way through your system yet, so you are in a sense paralyzed. Yes, so then your mind plays that whole, oh my, there's something there in the room with you, and you can't do anything, so you're completely terrorized because when something like it happens and you completely can't do something, your mind plays that, what's the worst case scenario that can happen to you, and that would be someone else in your room with you, or something happened to you and you can't do anything about it. So
Right.
I mean, it's a really intriguing an phenomenon, the sleep paralysis and studying parasomnias.
Yeah. And sometimes I've heard that often referred to as like the old hag syndrome. People report the old like lady
Yeah.
holding them down, holding their chest down. They're paralyzed, and like this being is on top of them. Even they actually see somebody.
Yeah, and the thing about it, like you just said, absolutely. There's been cases across different cultures that see similar things. Now, could it be paranormal? I'm not going to say it's not paranormal, but in a lot of cases, it's just in the case of parasomnia. But
Yeah.
I mean, could it? Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, it could be. I mean, your glass falling off the shelf. Could it be earthquake? Could it be paranormal? It could be
Right.
both cases, so like that. But I'm not going to say completely that it can't happen. But I'm just saying in most cases, parasomnia is explainable. Yes.
Hmm.
Ethan Dart, we just read about that. What did you just read about? Parasomnias and sleep paralysis. It's actually, yeah, it actually is a very interesting topic. So
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
experiences at United Methodist Village you want to share that night with Casey Williams. I'm sorry, I'm reading posts here. So
Oh yeah. Yeah. Corey was there. Yeah. Todd Bates was there with me. I actually just talked to Todd earlier before I got on the show, but yeah, me and Todd and Corey and everybody was there. They seen some stuff. They seen people walking around. I think it made a believer out of out of Corey because he seen some weird stuff that night at the United Methodist Village. Also going back to that, down in that basement area too, where all those chairs are at. A lot of people experience some strange things down in that area. One of the guys from Terre Haute heard a lady scream in his ear down there. But yeah, I forgot about all the experiences they had that night. So it just goes to show, a lot of these people, they go to these places, they have their own experiences. That's what I like too. Me and you can sit here and talk about this, but like that's why I like bringing these people into these places on these haunted tours and letting them experience this for themselves. And are they going to have similar experiences to us? And it's just the whole marble thing too. And at Pine Lawn, I've tried to debunk that, explain it. It's just like there's no explanation.
Well, we had that one case. Like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
But we had the same case where hold on, I want to touch something. Like, hello, stranger. Yeah, I see you there. And Ethan, yeah, the effect. Oh, yep, and the effects of parasomnias. Okay, gotcha. Now, like the case of that, we had that the opinion at one time, Pond Lawn, where it did fall. We pull out a thermal camera, and there's absolutely no heat signature on it at all. Telling me right there that it's not been in someone's pocket. Because if you actually stick a penny or something like that in your pocket, you pull it out and you set it down, you could find a heat signature on it with a thermal camera. You really can. I mean, it's pretty evident. So I guess, and then we did that the penny fell, and we went up right over the thermal camera right after it happened. Looked, and there's absolutely it's stone cold.
Yeah.
So I mean, that was kind of an interesting thing. Personally, I've never really had anything happen to me at Pine Lawn, so I think you're all full of it. Just kidding.
Yeah.
But I've yet to have anything unusual happen to me there. So still waiting on that. But
yeah, but you were there the night the penny got thrown. You just didn't see it get thrown, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, correct. I heard it. I heard it. And went over there and stuff like that. And that was sorry guys, that cough is still oh my gosh. But yeah, it was around Halloween, I think that's what it was. That you had that group going through there, so we got, and yeah, it was we were all in the dining room area at Pine Lawn, and we heard that and we went over there to it. So I didn't see it, but I heard it and then went over there and saw it.
Right. Yeah, he ran a thermal over it, guys, and it was like it was about room temperature, wasn't it? It wasn't hot at all.
No, it was not at all. It was, and room temperature there at Pine Lawn was kind of chilly because of it.
So yeah, it was absolute proof. If that penny was thrown, that a human didn't throw it, or it wasn't in somebody's pocket, is what he's saying, because we're
Yeah.
hand. Because that, yeah, the thermal would have definitely picked that up. We thermal imaged like several marbles too one night in there. Same scenario. I also used a non-contact, infrared laser thermometer on them a couple times. Like every time they would get, thrown or something, I'd hit it with that to see if they were warmer than the surrounding floor or anything, or the room temperature or the walls or anything. All about the same temperature. They were never hot. It was like somebody had done it. I mean,
Yeah.
and that you've seen the video of the marble hitting me, right?
I think so. I probably have. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really have. Just look at so.
Yeah, it was like that was around Halloween too. I think it was like me and Isabella, and there was about Courtney and somebody. I don't remember who all was in there, but I was holding the camera. I walk into Hall 3. Didn't even know. I felt something hit me, but I'm used to that pylon. Like I felt something coming, go boom, and like hit me. But we were concerned about the blood, because that's actually the night Jareth found the blood everywhere. Yeah,
I think it was. Well, that was the night I came down there, wasn't it? Did blood
yeah,
there?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so heck, you might have been there when it was filmed.
I don't think so. I think I caught you guys the video, and then driving. So I don't think I was there when it happened. I think it happened before I got there.
Okay.
Because after I got there, just as true to nature, as soon as I got there, nothing happened from then on out.
Yeah. But like, I didn't realize the extent of what we had captured until all the fans started messaging me and emailing me and saying, "Hey, there's a marble that flies out and hits you, and it comes from nowhere, and you guys caught it on the live feed." And I go back to the live feed and watch it, and I'll be dang. I knew something hit me. I felt it hit my coat. You can hear it hit my coat. It's like, whoop. I mean, you can hear the thud. And I found the marble. Even I went back, found the marble on the floor right there where it hit me at. And all the fans had messaged saying, "Hey, a marble flew through the air." And you can go back on this video. We've got it up on the page. But yeah, you can literally see that marble come out of absolutely nowhere. The door that it shoots the direction from toward me is closed. So that was a good thing. Door is completely closed. Couldn't have came through the doorway. And people thought it was a vent up on top that it came out of. Like that is a piece of wood with a room number on it. So I took a picture of that. Yeah, there's no vent, no holes. Door was closed. It came out of complete nowhere. There is no debunking it, no explanation for it. I mean, it comes out of nowhere. And like, because I took pictures, of the wood and the door, and you can, if you lighten the video up and stop it, you can see it's a wooden plaque and a closed door where that comes from. So, no possible explanation for it. It came out of nowhere. Hey, Bob, thanks for tuning in. Catch you later, man.
Yeah, one of these days I'll be able to go back there. Maybe something will happen, but until that point, yeah, I've never had anything really happen there. I mean, I've seen you guys catch stuff on camera, stuff like that in the penny, which that was after the fact. So I've never actually had anything directly happen. So like that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I remember the night with the blood test.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was kind of an interesting night as well. So, but so there's so many different conclusions came so many different ways with the blood testing. It's crazy, some of it was tested positive, some tested negative. It was really odd that, how that whole thing went. So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, what's your opinion on that? How can it test positive and negative?
The only thing I can think of, and I don't even know. I'm by no means an expert on it. The only thing I can think of is, I mean, we took one, for example, if I remember right, correct me if I'm wrong here, but one location, we took a sample from two different places in the same place. I mean, within inches of each other. So I guess one tested positive, one tested negative. And the blood test all it does is reacts to oxidation in the blood, the iron oxidation, stuff like that in the blood, unless there was some chemical on the wall that would have caused that, a positive oxidation reaction. I mean, I don't know. I mean, do I think it's blood? I don't think it was blood, because I mean, it should have tested positive all the way across the board, in my opinion. Yeah, right there. I thought I heard something.
Something just hit my wall hard.
Huh.
All right.
Well, I'm not impressed. The doors behind you open.
Yeah.
So,
did you hear that?
I actually did hear something. I couldn't tell what it was, but I heard something.
Yeah, it definitely hit my wall. So.
Huh. That's crazy. Great. We'll be watching.
Yeah, but go ahead, James. Sorry.
Hit him in the back of the head. Come on. No, I honestly, I mean, if it to me, in my opinion, if it was honestly blood, it would have tested positive all the way across the board. All all places that we tested in
Right.
that area should have. So I guess I honestly don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't think of any chemical that would cause that, especially since that wall hasn't been cleaned in
Yeah.
what.
See, that's my thought though too. Since I seen it come out, I mean, if it's not blood, what is it?
Yeah, the whole
What
thing
is
with
it?
it coming
What
out.
substance?
That's the thing. The whole thing, seeing the whole thing come out. What the hell? What's up with
Yeah,
that? Excuse my
and how
language.
does it mimic? What can mimic blood like that? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it had some characteristics. I mean, it didn't dry like blood. If I remember, I did it dry and clot like
I don't
blood
think it
did.
did either. Did I tell you that what happened when uh, me and Courtney went back on New Year's? We investigated on New Year's night there.
What happened?
Like I don't know if it was just the moisture in the building or whatever, but it had dried, and it was all dried up, on the one that I seen come out. Well, the walls were kind of wet, so it could have been attributed to the moisture in the wall and everything reactivating whatever it was. But it looked like it was fresh and dripping again on New Year's when I went in there. Like it was like actually like glistening and like fresh looking again, like completely like coming out like not like flat, dried. It was like it was there again. But I just thought,
Yeah. See, if it was real blood, it would have dried up by then. So I guess
yeah,
I don't know what I don't know. I mean, I think
it had dried once, and then like it's like it. I don't know. I think that like I say, the building was extremely like it was a lot of moisture on the walls because it had been raining, and there was like kind of dew and stuff on the walls. I don't know. Whatever it was reactivated.
huh. I don't know. I've got no explanation as to far as what it is or where it came from, or no idea. I mean, really, it's all speculations. I mean,
Yeah. Very weird.
but well, that's that place for you. I mean, like I said, I've never had anything happen there, so I'm still waiting on that one. So maybe one of
Yeah.
these days.
Yeah.
I don't know. So
You get marbled one of these days, James.
well, I'm waiting for it. I keep inviting it, but it's still nothing. I got
I'll have
nothing.
to bring back the group of ladies that likes to follow, and then
Well,
you'll see.
do it. Bring them back. I'll make
Yeah.
sure I'm there that night so I can at least see
Absolutely.
something
Yeah.
happen. Because I'm
Yep.
kind of curious. I'll bring thermal camera and everything I can think of to bring them. Well, hopefully something happens. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Sounds good.
but no,
Yeah.
but no. So excuse me. Sorry, but sorry. I'm trying to catch up with some of the stuff here. Brother and I witnessed. Yeah, brother and I witnessed some figures that night running across the hallway. Now, I did something like that similar one night at the village. I'm sure you remember that night we were sitting there, and I turn around, and and there was someone dragging themselves across the hallway.
Wait, where was this?
This was at the village.
Oh yeah, you told me about that. Okay, yeah, go into that story.
Well, I mean, not a whole lot to it. It's like I'm sitting there, and then I kind of like turn and I look down the hallway, and it's like I see someone, and it's not like it's not like when you're seeing somebody like in plain as day. Like I got a light on and stuff like this, but I can see like the silhouette of someone dragging themselves down across the hallway.
Yeah.
And by the time it registered, it was gone. But I'm like, I mean, that's one of those things you just, you know when you see it, and you're like, your mind just doesn't make that crap up on its own.
Yeah.
Not like sometimes you see silhouettes, because like in dark corners, and like everybody knows this, dark corners like this, everybody always looks for familiar faces, familiar shapes. Everybody sees a face in everything because the mind is basically trained to look for things that are familiar.
Yeah, pareidolia, basically.
Yeah, basically. One of the key things that you hear a lot of people, like whenever they're hiding from people, it sounds strange to bring this topic up. When you're hiding from people, they say the first thing to do, the best way to hide from somebody is take on an unfamiliar form, because it doesn't look like a person, and people will ignore that.
Yep.
But the mind looks for something familiar. And down the hallway, and at the end of the hallway, I could see like there was a glass door, and I could see outside, and I could actually see it, a street light down there. So I mean, I could see it. I didn't have a flashlight lit down that way, but it was still lit up enough I could see what was going on and stuff like. And for me, a familiar face would be seeing someone standing there, or someone big around the corner, stuff like this. But when you see someone dragging themselves across the hallway, I mean, that's not something that would have possibly even come to my mind. But I see that, and I'm like, I look at it, And it's like one of those things, like, it's there, then it's gone, and you're like, okay, it was a flash. Maybe by the time you process it, it's already gone.
Right.
But yeah, it was like someone dragging themselves from left to right down the hallway, out of the room, and they're like dragging themselves, like, just like on their elbows.
Yeah.
Like, and then it's gone. I'm like, and yeah, well, I remember, yeah, when then that happened, but then that was just a couple fleeting moments, or actually, I
Yeah.
want to call it a couple
I'd
moments.
forgotten about that. I forgot you.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't forget it. Trust me.
I know
didn't
you
forget
did.
that one.
I forgot about that incident, but yeah. How was that? Like, was that your first or second time in there? Or, like, your investigation anyway?
Investigation wise, I think it was the first time.
Was
But yeah, like I said, I used to live down in Lawrenceville. I used to live just around the corner from that place, really, actually, well, a couple blocks away and stuff like that. So, I've had family there. When my son was young, they used to have a daycare in the basement, and he used to go there. So I've been to that place a lot of times back in the days when it was still open. I had family members that worked there. So, but as far as the first time, as far as like investigation wise, yeah, the first time I was there, and then that happened, and that just saw somebody dragging themselves across, and it was gone. So yeah, that was the first time being there in investigation form. Yes,
that's crazy. Yeah, it's about like that time up at the. Well, I'll get into that here in a second, but
I'm reading too. Someone said something about throwing off the blood. Was a team member was there alone prior to taking a doll and throws a big red flag to me.
Yeah, it is. It is a red flag. I agree, Casey. I've looked into that.
I don't know. It's one of those things you don't want to assume that, but it's always in the back of your mind. Because anybody here that gets involved in paranormal stuff, I guess, knows the first thing you have to do is stay critical of everything. If the first thing happens and you believe it to be real, the first time you see a picture and you see an orb or something like this on, the first thing you speculate is, oh yeah, it's paranormal. Then you're doing a big disservice, because you're not keeping that critical train of thought that you really need to be skeptical. That's one of the reasons that, in my opinion, the paranormal studies there's so much stigma tied to it, that people, because there's so many people that they want to believe it, that first thing you see, picture, oh my God, it's paranormal. Well, people jump to conclusions is where science, granted, you can't reproduce paranormal activity because you can't get it to appear on command. There's no way to scientifically reproduce it, but you got to stay critical. Absolutely the most critical. Out of all the other sciences, I don't want to pseudosciences, I guess you could say, or science. You have to be more critical than them. Because you really, when they see you start jumping on it, then believing the first thing you see, then that's what really, really causes to have people to not take it serious.
Right. Absolutely.
James, do you think there was an instant replay of something that happened as a resident? So I guess I found out later that there was that some. I did not realize this time. Like I said, I do have kind of a history.
You're answering this question.
Yes. I'm answering that question. Give me just a second here. I do have a history of the place a little bit, to a degree, but being that I was never privy to any information that happened there, as far as with people, stuff like this, or any events that happened there, and only after the fact, and even after my first time being there, did I start finding more and more information. Like this. Excuse me again. Yeah. What I did find out later is that someone, I don't know, I don't remember the full of the story, but maybe you remember, Jason, that someone was seen crawling across the floor there at some point. I don't know if it was the same hallway. I don't know if it was the same location. I
actually think it was the same hallway.
Was it?
Yeah, there was something involving someone passing away or something. They crawled out of the room. Somebody told us that, yeah, and it was after James had said that he had seen this. So, it's not like he knew this ahead of time. Like, this lady told us about this. It was several months later, wasn't it?
It was quite a bit. I don't remember how much it was later, but it was quite a bit later that I found out about it. And to answer Shauna's question here real quick, no, the person, for the moment, there's like the fleeting moment I actually did see them. No, the person did not even look like they acknowledged it. It looked like they were looking straight ahead, like they were trying to get somewhere. So no, there was no looking at me. There was no nothing. It was just, residual probably. But yeah, there's no acknowledgement of any of us there. And there were a couple of us in the hallway, and we were making some noise. Yeah. So I mean, but there was from what I saw, there was no acknowledgement of us even being there. So residual probably so. But yeah, like I said, like I said, like Jason said that I did hear after the fact that someone was seen crawling across the floor when they were a resident there or something like this. So they found someone crawling across the floor at one point.
Yeah.
But like I said, that was substantially later that I found out about that.
And that was told to us by a former, I believe she was a nurse there, wasn't she?
That I don't remember. Former employee.
She worked that
in some respect. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Weird stuff. And the alarms going off at the United Methodist Village. You know, I caught that on live feed, even the door alarm or the Wonder alarm, which you have to have a bracelet in order to activate the alarm. You know, they would put them on the residents a lot of times in the dementia unit in case they would get out of the Otten Center and escape out the door or something. It would set off an alarm. Those alarms would go off a lot in there. Like some of our first investigations, we got those alarms going off. We actually found one of the bracelets.
After the fact, yeah.
Yeah, after the fact. And tested it. I think Sammy found it, didn't she, Peach? Didn't she find it? Or did you guys find it? Or
I don't remember who it was. Or someone found it. Yeah. I remember the alarm going off and someone yelled what it was because we didn't know what it was. Yeah. Someone yelled what it was and went down there, and then it was like after the fact, and I don't even think it was like the same day. It was like another visitor. So that's when someone finally found a bracelet because we didn't we wouldn't even aware that the system was there or or any where any of the bracelets. Excuse me, any of the bracelets were, and when that happened, the alarm going off, there wasn't even anybody up there at the front.
Yeah.
At one point it happened while we were outside, didn't it?
Yeah, and I had set the live feed down to monitor the door.
Yeah.
And I actually caught it on the live feed showing nobody went out that door and it went off.
Yeah, we were all standing. I believe at one point we were all standing outside the door and the door alarm went off like someone took the bracelet through it. And that was still before we even found one of the bracelets.
Yes, correct. Correct. Yep.
Yeah, that place is an interesting place. I mean, a lot of stuff happened. I haven't had anything really. I mean, granted, I say that I haven't had a whole lot of interesting things happen there. Of course, the person dragging themselves across the floor, but that's always things like you said, like we talked about. That your mind goes back and saying, okay, maybe it didn't happen, maybe I imagined it and stuff like that. But that's just me second guessing myself all the time.
Sure,
like that. But there's always something interesting about that place.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Casey said the alarm. Alarm was wild. That was a great watch that night. Thanks, Casey. Yeah, because I had the live feed and it actually caught it going off, which was cool. I just decided to set the live feed down facing that door, and we caught it. So that's pretty neat.
That was good when that happens.
Yeah.
But the wiring was pulled out of the box when the alarm went off that night. So
wiring was pulled out of the box when the alarms went off. I was there that night. Huh.
Was that the case? I don't remember because I mean there's so much, is there wiring hanging out, stuff like this? I don't remember. There's so much stuff going on with the place that I it's hard to keep track of what's what there sometimes. So
yeah. Casey stayed up too late watching it. We appreciate all you guys stayed up late with us and watching. I'm glad we got night owls like us out there because.
Well, if we keep you up and keep you entertained, it's definitely we enjoy that. So that just means stuff's going on good for us. So
right.
But that's good. I mean, granted, well, like you said, people are going to be allowed to come back in the village now. So I guess we can, people can start checking it out themselves and stuff. Thankfully,
for sure.
So that'll give a lot more people a chance to experience that place for themselves and definitely help keep the place, raise some funds for the owners of it. So, and they're great. It's great that they can that they're willing to let us come in and do that with such an interesting place, so you guys can see it as well. So, yeah,
for sure. Like James is saying, if you guys missed the beginning of the broadcast, United Methodist Village is now going to be open as long as, we can do it. It just looks like we're going to be doing a lot longer than what we thought now. So we're going to make a page and allow paranormal teams or individuals, groups, anybody who wants to come in to investigate it for a price to help, pay for the building, upkeep of the building. So definitely go back and watch that, guys. We missed the beginning. But yeah, I think we might wrap this one up here in a few, James.
Oh, Corey, hold on one second. Corey said something
Okay,
about
go ahead. Yeah,
personally ever seen shadow people.
yeah, go ahead.
Uh, that's I don't Corey. I don't know. It's really hard to say. Have I seen shadows? And I don't mean like shadows of like someone walking by. Have I seen like shadows of basically it looks like someone standing there and then being, composed of nothing but a shadow? Yes. Uh, have I been standing there and seen like what someone walk by and a shadow reflected on the wall? Yes. Um, but as far as it being a shadow person, I don't know because I think the bad thing about being a paranormal
Shadows.
investigator is we don't get to spend a lot of time in these places like people that live there. We don't get to experience all this stuff. I mean, people call and say, "Hey, we got shadow people." They do all sorts of stuff. They sit over our beds at night, and look at us, and they're scaring us like this. Well, we don't get to spend days on end, waiting for a shadow person like us. So when we go into a place and see, basically a shadow person, I guess you could say, uh, to us, it could be. I mean, it could be a ghost or something that just appears as that, or as a legitimate shadow person, which is still a kind of a controversial topic. Do shadow people really exist? I don't know. But yes, I have seen people. I'm sorry for the long explanation of a short question.
Oh no,
Uh,
yeah, no, that's
but
great. And like, yeah, to kind of emphasize on that a little too, shadows are easier to debunk than full body apparitions. A lot of things create shadows. Light creates shadows. We create shadows. Poles. Stuff shining through windows. So like, that it's harder to say a shadow is something paranormal to me than somebody seeing a full body apparition. Shadows are easy to come up with a natural explanation for. And there was one time in Pylon Manor that I completely got freaked out. Thought I seen this little like kid or lady outside, short like lady, or actually it looked like it was like up in the window of the Pine Lawn Manor, and it was a shadow figure, and I could see the face and the hair and everything in the window of Pylon Manor as I walked past, and it was started moving. I was like, "Oh my god!" Because like this was during one of our haunted tours, and like everybody was in the group there behind me. Well, come to find out, one one lady had went outside to smoke or vape or something. She stepped out the front door, and the neighbors across the street from Pylon Manor have installed a big bright light, probably because they know there's a lot of people over there during our tours and stuff, but into their backyard that casts a shadow from whatever's in that yard onto the window I was looking at. Well, the lady outside that had got away from my tour went outside to smoke. Basically, that light was shining on her, creating that shadow into the window, and it looked like it was in the building or right there in the window with me. I'll tell you what, you might have been there that night, James. I can't remember.
no, I missed that. I missed that night. I heard about labor. No, I wasn't. I didn't get
Yeah.
to do
Anyway,
that.
I went running out there and figured out it was her and finally debunked it. But yeah, light can create crazy things and project shadows onto places that you don't realize it's doing it. So like he
Yeah.
said, it's hard to say shadow people are paranormal sometimes. I mean, even though I believe it's legit, I
Mhm.
mean,
If
sorry,
you
I
do
went
like
into
If you do like what Shauna says here, encountered a shadow person one time where the person was in the middle, no features in the middle of a room. I mean, that's definitely a different story than it is when you
right.
see them, by a wall or something like this, which could actually be a reflection of somebody. And that's what everybody thinks about when they see a shadow person. They think about, someone basically standing in the middle of their, basically a figure standing there, but this is nothing but a dark figure, a dark shadow. So I guess so, but there's still a lot of speculation. Is it a ghost? Don't know. Is it an actual legitimate shadow person? And I'm not saying a specific, this is a Shauna's case. I'm just saying in general and
Right.
stuff like this. I mean, there's a lot of speculation, but not even sure what. There's a lot of theories, but no one's sure what a shadow person even is, or if it's a legitimately. Some people say, hey, it was shadow people were never living people. They're basically not demons, but not but
Like
spirits
just
that have never
entities.
been a person, entities that have
Yeah.
never. I don't want to call it spirits, but entities that have never been a person
Hmm.
and stuff like that. So I mean, it's really it's hard to say. I mean, really seen a lot of stuff. Yeah, I've chalk a lot of it up to national explanations. Yeah,
Right.
but
Yeah, yeah. Something I would consider a legitimate shadow figure would be like kind of like she's talking about. It actually isn't projecting onto something or behind something or on a wall or movement, but an actual physical object that looks like it has mass, but yet it's black and shadowy in the middle of a room, not
Yeah.
projecting onto a wall.
Yeah, something you could see around, we could look and see around the thing, on the
Yeah,
back side of it. So like that, there's actually something physically there in the middle. So yeah, absolutely. That's what I think of when I think of, a shadow person is that,
yeah,
as a word. I don't think about what it is because I don't know, but I think,
right,
that to me is, something more legitimately taken serious.
right. That's
So
interesting. You see what she said there?
yeah, I gave off serious static.
Yeah,
I've actually heard that before where, when people encounter, you know, shadow figures like this that they get, that they interfere with things at electrical level, static and stuff like this, that intrigues me more than anything else that, because those are claims that things that people have claimed, but it's not something a lot of people claim. But of course, a lot of people don't claim to see shadow people, but yeah,
right,
they affect, electrical fields
right. Yeah.
like this.
I mean, by her saying that, that's affecting the physical environment around her. So that could be some type of paranormal occurrence or anomaly, or some entity causing that. Because yeah, I mean, we use static electricity meter, detectors and everything too to try to detect. I mean, just different stuff. It's just I don't know. It's pretty cool though that she said that happened because like most people don't report the static type feeling where your
Oh,
hair stands on end and
yeah. Yeah, they're always like, I saw it and stuff like this. Well, I'm less inclined to, believe someone when they say, hey, I saw it versus, hey, this is what I saw and this is what happened.
yeah, exactly,
That's usually when you can sit there and say, okay, now let's take this story a little more serious because, people tend to see when they make stuff up, have a tendency to tell you, what they saw, but
right,
not necessarily, or what they felt, but not necessarily what other little details happened and stuff like that. And
yeah,
that's, you start taking things a little more serious. Um, I started to say, I had a thought there and I lost my train of thought there. But no, one of the things about like Jason agree on, Jason does as well. So I guess is using a lot of scientific equipment. And it's great now that they make a lot more of equipment designed more towards paranormal stuff like this. But the first rule of thumb is in paranormal is anything that appears in this realm of existence or has to have some effect on the environment somehow. Absolutely has to. I mean,
yeah.
the laws of physics, it has
It
to
has to
impact
be
our environment somehow.
measurable in some
Has
way.
Yeah, absolutely. It has to be measurable somehow. If it's
Yeah,
not, it's not. It does not exist in our realm. Now, I say that well, ghosts may not exist in our realm. Well, if they're appearing in our realm, they have to make some kind of tangible impact on it somehow.
right,
And so I guess, and in a lot of cases, we find that. And so I guess that's one of the things of equipment, reason this
right.
equipment, because every time I've actually seen something I can't explain, there has been a tangible impact in some case,
Exactly.
be it a static a static field, electrical field,
Mm, yeah,
vibrations. Take your pick. There's so many different types of equipment, stuff like that. But yeah,
yeah.
but I
It's
mean, it
like
has is the case.
I compare it to like a rock in a clear pond sometimes, a rock being a paranormal anomaly. You throw that rock into a pond that you can see clearly, and then it's going to cause that ripple effect. That ripple effect's going to go and crash into the shore, which is going to crash, into the weeds, which is going to cause the bugs to take off, which is going to cause the bird to go eat the, it's a ripple
Impact,
effect, like in
impact.
nature.
Yeah,
It,
absolutely.
it's the same thing with environmental changes and paranormal research. Anything that disturbs or enters our environment, even if it's unusual or paranormal, and density or mass, whatever, is going to, like James says, hopefully cause an environmental disturbance that can be picked up by electromagnetic field meters or EMF meters or ion meters or just even radiation Geiger counters detectors. They could give off who knows what type of energy that's detectable or will effect in our world. So
And
um,
I know a lot of people like laugh at our things. We're going through there with these equipment stuff like this. Everybody's like, and a lot of people are like, and I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. I hope nobody takes offense to this. People are like, oh, I see it, I feel it, and stuff like this. Well, to me, seeing and feeling things doesn't really convince me. And stuff like this, I see and feel things a lot, but I always second guess that. It's when it can have an impact some other way. And so
yeah,
I guess that's what's so critical about using equipment. And I'm not knocking, mediums. I'm not knocking, feelings. I'm not knocking. So I guess, but it's when we start bringing other scientific, equipment into it, then people will start taking it more serious. And I know there's so many people out there going, God, I hate hearing the science part of this, or it's so boring and stuff like this. But for people to accept it and start taking it serious, you have to have that aspect to it. So I guess I like the science and I like the scary stories. I ain't gonna lie. Most people like the ghosts. They like the scary stories. You know, when you to me personally, when I see a paranormal show on TV, I enjoy it when it brings science into it. So I guess, but most people are like, they like it because it's got the scare factor.
Yeah.
Hollywood likes the scare factor. They don't like the science
Yeah,
part. So like that, but and it's sad, but it is what it is. So
right. And that's sad. It's kind of sad too, because like you said, a lot of these new teams and stuff, they're in it for the scare factor. And oh my god, a sound, they go running out, and that's what they wanted. They just want to get scared. We want to know what it's made of.
Yeah, I have absolutely. I want to know
what caused it and what it's made out of. What does it have mass? Does it have substance? Is it plasma? What caused this and what?
Yeah, absolutely. That intrigues me, and everybody was like, that's boring. Well, yeah, it kind of is boring to you, but to me, this is like, hey, this is definitive proof that there's something here. If it impacts the environment, it's something there.
Yeah,
it has to be something there. So it didn't even have to be. If it impacts the environment, it does exist. If you're sitting there and there's absolutely no explanation for something, and I take that because I've actually been watching the show, and I'll touch base here in a minute. Unless we're running too long, I don't know how long your show is.
We're good. Yeah.
Okay. But if we're in a case, if we're in an area where there absolutely is no explanation for these unusual fields, so like I said, there's fields start happening, then there's something there. There's something there. Something is causing that's out of the ordinary. Is it paranormal? I don't know, but there's something out of the normal, that's happening right there. I've been watching this. Some of you guys may have seen it. It's a couple years old, but The Secrets of Skinwalker Ranch.
Oh yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Hollywood because Hollywood overdoes stuff like this, but I'm finding this show actually kind of interesting because they're taking a scientific approach, and some of the stuff they're coming across they're coming up with, or some of these science readings they get out of there are actually really intriguing. And so I guess, and it's not just bringing the scare factor; it's actually bringing, they're bringing like an astrophysicist in. And stuff like this, and they're coming across interesting stuff. So that's the big thing I'm watching right now. I find it actually really interesting. So I'm gonna lie. Not a big fan of UFOs and stuff like this. It's never really been my thing, but it's interesting because this one seems to be more out of the paranormal and more into unusual technology or unusual things that the Earth and what something above the Earth seems to be, putting on right now. So
right, yeah, absolutely.
But you've done some of that lately. You've been to like some of the UFO hotspots supposedly around the area.
Oh yeah. I've investigated locations where there's supposedly UFO activity where people even seen what they call grays, in barns.
Yeah,
just a lot of stuff. We investigate everything, and even though we're the Crawford County Illinois Ghost Center Society, we investigate all claims of paranormal activity, whether it be cryptid activity like Bigfoot, Sasquatch. Skunk ape.
Okay, so my question,
UFOs.
My question to you, Jason. Okay, so you come across Sasquatch. What are you gonna do if you find him?
I don't know. I guess give him beef jerky and see if I can take a picture. I'm not real sure.
Well, I hear it likes beef jerky. It likes beef jerky. So Bigfoot, exactly.
That's if I can keep my finger off the trigger long enough.
Right.
If that thing's coming at me, he's getting shot. I'm sorry. They'll probably. Everybody's like, "Oh, don't shoot Bigfoot," but it'll be self-defense. I promise.
I see a funny thing. People are like, "I'm going ghost hunting." I'm sitting there thinking to myself, "Okay, what would you do if you actually found one? Really? Yeah. Come on, what would you do?" I mean, most people I've actually come across that anytime anything like startles them, they go like screaming and run. I'm like, "Really? You're going ghost hunting and you scream and run it like a sound?" I mean, come on, what are you really going to do? Jen says werewolf. That's actually a fascinating thing. So I think there's a place up in, is it Ohio? I can't remember the state now. Someplace here in the Midwest, there was reports of werewolves over some years, like a decade or so ago.
Oh yeah,
and stuff like that. So
even Casbar Cemetery in Effingham had reports of werewolves and this glowing red-eyed figure. Like there's a cave back there along the creek, which is more like rock overhangs. But there's been reports even in close to our area, over there at Casbar and Ramsey Cemetery in the Effingham area of a werewolf-like creature. I mean, and it could be a dog man, it could be a lot of things. But Corey's going nuts right now because he's actually, me and Corey and Todd Tate, we were just talking. We're trying to get together. We can't ever get our schedules aligned here, but we're going to go on a Bigfoot hunt here pretty soon. So maybe you can get in on that, James.
I'll bring my Jack Links. Beef
Yeah.
jerky. Not that I work for Jack Link. That wasn't a product pun. That was a product endorsement. No, I'm just it's the first thing I think of. I always think of the commercial messing with Sasquatch. This thing's cracking me up every time I see him. So,
Yeah.
but Beast of Bray Road. That sounds really familiar. Why have I heard that?
Yeah, that's gosh, that's up north somewhere. Um
I've seen hands
oh,
fall place spirits.
actually
Yeah.
I think Dale and his team did an investigation into that. It's somewhere, I can't remember what state it is, but the Bray Road deal.
That may have been the one I was. Let me look that up real quick. That may have been the one I was thinking of. Where there was a case many years ago, where supposedly where that may have been at
Michigan.
Michigan. That may have been the one I was thinking of when I just said the Midwest one. So like I know I've heard
Yeah.
stuff about that. I remember hearing stuff about that back in the '90s. There was a case of that back when the the werewolf thing and then the whole chupacabra thing was a big thing for a while and stuff like that back in the late '90s, early 2000s when it started when cryptid cases of cryptid activity started coming become prevalent and stuff like that. So
Sorry, I wasn't laughing at you, James. I was laughing at Shauna's comment there.
what about was it yelled? I've seen hands fall in a place spirits don't need to be touching. I ain't gonna lie. Okay, that's with permission. Yeah, that's funny because let me touch it. I'm going to embarrass myself here for just a second here.
Okay.
Back in the early 2000s, so I guess I moved over to St. Louis. We were doing some theater. I got involved in live theater, and I remember one time, and it was in this supposedly haunted theater. The theater is located in Collinsville, Illinois. It's called Miners Theater. And I remember one time I was up on the stage. We were putting flats together for a show we were doing. And I was sitting there, and there was a lot of us on the stage. And something grabbed my ass. Excuse my language. Something grabbed my backside. Okay, something grabbed my.
Of course, we can say whatever we want.
And I was sitting there, and that happened. And of course, the people I work with, have you ever done community theater? Everybody gets really, really close. I mean, there were times we had to share co-ed dressing rooms, so we all get really, really familiar with each other. And so, like this happened, and something grabbed my butt. And it was typical to say like some kind of smart ass remarks. I thought it was a friend of mine. So I always make some kind of like smart ass remark about it. And I said, "Ooh, do it again." Yeah. And she's like, and I hear this, "Do what?" And I turn around, and she's about 20 foot away from me. And she's like, "Do what?" I said, "Grab my ass." And she's like, no one touched your butt, and no one touched your ass. And I'm like, well, I felt someone grab my ass. So
that's weird.
I mean, so yeah, I get the spirits don't touch in places they shouldn't be touching. Which we that same theater, one of our former, the team I was on, teammates was sitting there on the floor one time, and he got up and he was running out of there. And he's like, "What?" He's like, "Something placed their hand on my thigh and started moving it upward."
Wow.
So I'm like, okay, so he's being fondled. So again, but I guess supposedly there was sometimes there was supposed to be a female entity at that place. There was supposed to, a number of entities, but so I guess it seemed like sometimes she just seemed to get familiar with the guys.
Yeah.
I gave him or her talking to grab my ass.
Yeah, she said I gave her a talking to continued to play, and finally ended up leaving because it wouldn't back off. That's funny. Yeah, I would probably leave too.
Oh yeah, sometimes you have to have a firm talking to him. Say, "Hey, there are boundaries here, naughty spirits." Yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stories about things like that. I remember reading a story one time about an old inn in England. I can't remember the town. It's supposed to be outside of that, where they have there was supposedly a spirit of a former lady that liked to get familiar with the boys there. And so I guess there's I've read a couple of stories, been a number of years ago, about guys that had experienced unusual things in their hotel room and stuff like that. So, I mean, I don't know. That's one of the parts of paranormal that people don't really talk about because it's kind of a people don't buy that stuff. Yeah, kind of a taboo thing. People don't want to say that, or when someone comes to me and say, "Hey, I was touched," I'm like, "Okay, well, sorry, but don't really want to hear this story." But That's a topic for another time. But it's but yeah, you got to set boundaries sometimes. I guess with ghosts.
I guess
I don't
so.
know.
Yeah.
So
Well, if you think about it, if they do keep their human characteristics and feelings and emotions, I mean, why wouldn't they? If you have evil spirits, you're gonna have
yeah, they're good in life. They're gonna be good good in death. If they're gonna be unpleasant in life. Be unpleasant as a ghost too.
Yeah.
Well, I always go
Yeah.
first and want a human behind me.
Yeah. That's funny.
But naughty spirits, that's fun. That's interesting. I don't know if you ever make
that could be a whole episode on its own there.
I actually, I mean, that sounds strange, but I mean, it's paranormal related. That's a case of paranormal activity that seems to be. I'm trying to think of a way to put that in a nice way, where interactions with the ghosts are on a more unwelcome level. And so, like I said, yeah, I mean, maybe put the show like that one time, because I'm actually be interested in hearing, and not necessarily in a naughty perspective, but I mean, stories of paranormal activity, from an unwelcome, completely very unwelcome level, or intimidating level. So, like, I'd love to hear those types of stories.
An invasive, like paranormal encounter, like where they're kind of like,
absolutely,
yeah,
and like you just said, invasive. Absolutely, it's a perfect way to put it. Something where they're invading your territory, be your home, or doing things that that
it shouldn't be.
They shouldn't be doing. Not necessarily from a bad perspective, a naughty perspective, but I mean, things that make you they're doing things that'll drive you away from a location that push you out of your house. You don't want to be around anymore because they're doing they're that invasive.
Yep.
It's like excuse me. I'll tell you what, that cough.
Yeah, we're gonna have to wrap it up here soon. Anyway, James, we're hitting the 2 hour and 5 minute mark, I think. So, hitting the 2 hour mark anyway. So,
just irresistible. I appreciate that. So how long does your show normally run? I said I haven't done a show with you for
hour and a half, 2 hours. It just depends on how much we get talking. Yeah.
Well, hopefully
we can go over if you got anything you want to talk about or say.
I can't really think of anything. I think we've touched about everything I could possibly come off the top of my mind right now. So, okay. But hopefully it was entertaining enough for everybody. So I don't even know how many people we got watching. Scratching, shoving, pulling hair, throwing stuff. Nice girl, damn it, back off. I mean, some people it's an interesting night. I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, well, sounds good. I think I'll keep you updated on the next one, James. Let you know when we're going, and
yeah, I definitely do. And let me know what's going on. What you guys got planned? Yeah, well, you're still putting together stuff for the village.
Yeah.
Let me know what you got. Moving forward with that, and if you got anything coming up on that, we got people coming in. Let me know. So, like I said, I'd be interested. If I'm available, I'll definitely go down and join you. Okay, so I always like going down there to that place. So.
Yeah, sounds good.
The same with Pine Lawn too. One of these days, something's going to happen to me there. I swear.
I'll bring the group of 4 ladies that it happens to, and like that'll be your best probability or chance of it happening, because it just loves to follow these ladies around, because they all work at homes like that, like in their for their profession. They all work at mentally disabled homes, so I think that's why they tend to follow them, and maybe it's almost like they're giving them gifts, for doing what they do. It's like, it's pretty cool, actually. It's cool to see,
but yeah, well, right now work schedule, I'm working nights, so it's really hard to do. But if I'm supposed to go back to evenings, when I do that, it'll give me a little more time to actually do stuff after work. So be interested in joining you down there, because like I said, Pine Lawn's not too terribly far away. Same with Lawrenceville, so
yeah,
it's easy to pop down there after work. So
yeah, sounds good, Corey.
Bigfoot meeting.
For watching. Yeah, we'll have a Bigfoot meeting here soon.
Well, I'm glad you guys. Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
We may go live, guys, with that Bigfoot hunt we're going to do, because we're going to actually check out some areas, for the possibility of cryptid type, creatures such as Bigfoot, Dogman. We're going to be doing actual Dogman hunts down at Land Between the Lakes in Kentucky. We've got that scheduled for this summer and spring. We're going to be doing a lot of cool stuff. So definitely keep watching our page, guys. Keep watching our talk show. And we're going to update you with everything, we're going to be doing soon. So, but yeah, James, I appreciate you coming on the show.
I know you caught me at a good time, so it's all good. So, like I guess I appreciate you inviting me along. And it's been interesting. So
Yeah,
some of the
been
topics are
fun.
like that. So
A lot better
hopefully,
than talking to myself on here.
oh come on, that's not so bad. A lot of it just seems to be answered questions. Like I really appreciate people coming on here and actually saying stuff. It gives us things to interact with, questions to answer,
Absolutely.
stuff like that. So
Yep.
ready for some lives. Well, hopefully we get to that pretty soon. So
Yeah, as soon as it warms up a little outside, guys, this 10-degree stuff is, I don't know, it freezes me and the ghost. So we're gonna get to some pretty good stuff here. But a lot of our buildings we investigate, unfortunately, don't have heat in them too. So this cold weather really throws a big, problem into our investigation schedule. Unless we do, private residence, which is what we've been doing. But we'll definitely keep you guys updated. We're gonna go live as much as possible and put that out to you guys. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the show tonight. We appreciate all of you guys tuning in tonight. A lot of good questions. That's what makes the show too. You guys asking questions. Don't be afraid to jump on here and ask us whatever, guys. And should have Sophie back on the third Monday. Hopefully she's got a less busy schedule, and we'll try to get James and other team members on here as much as we can to co-host. And appreciate him coming on tonight. Last minute thing here, so.
I always look forward to those text messages. Hey, what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing in like 10 seconds?
Yeah, basically that's about what it was. You gave me like 2 minute notice. I'm like, great.
Yeah,
I guess I'm
James
going to be on the
2 minute
show.
notice,
So.
guys, for the show tonight. So that's how good he did.
So yes, I actually have my food set now. I was getting ready to cook supper. So and I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm
All
cooking
right.
later.
Well,
So
I'll let you go back to eating now.
we're hoping to come up in March again. Hopefully, hopefully it'll be warmer.
Yeah.
Some people are stuff like that. So cool.
All right.
So okay, I appreciate it. Thanks for bringing me on, Jason. I
All right.
appreciate
I'm
it.
gonna pull you out, James, and end the show. And thanks again. And I'll see you on the next one, James.
All right. You guys have a good evening. Thank you very much.
All right. See you later.
Bye.
Yep. All right, guys. Again, that was James Pinkson, one of my longtime team members. He's been on my investigation team for several years now, and been on a lot of different haunts and investigations with me. Glad to have him on the show tonight. Take the place of Sophie. She had to cancel last minute, so he literally jumped on here like with a 2-minute notice. So that was cool of him to do. But I hope you guys enjoyed the show tonight. And again, we'll keep you updated on the Facebook page of all of our upcoming live investigations. And we will definitely see you guys on the next one. Hope everybody has a good evening out there. Stay safe. It's cold. And we'll go live here soon, hopefully.